Our second leading story takes us to Senegal. New reforms in the country could see the administration change to a more presidential system. This follows an announcement made by the then Prime Minister Mahammed Boun Abdallah Dionne on Saturday that President Macky Sall had instructed him to launch reforms that will include the scrapping of the Prime Ministerial post. It should be recalled that he had just been reappointed to the position. He was named the Secretary General of the Republic, according to a presidential decree read out on national television. According to the authorities, these reforms are aimed to bring the administration closer to the people, to speed up reforms so they had more impact.
Il faut noter que pour parvenir à ce...
In order to achieve this presidential regime and the abolition of the post of prime minister, it will inevitably be necessary to amend the constitution. In particular, Article 36, which stipulates that the president shall determine the policy of the nation. The government applies it under the direction of the prime minister. According to a source for the presidency, this amendment shall be made quickly. From the first to second council of ministers, a bill will be introduced in the National Assembly to endorse the direction sought by Macky Sall. We are going to discuss precisely this orientation wanted by the head of state with Maguette Diaye, an expert in communication and development based in Dakar, Senegal. Hello, Maguette Diaye. How do you feel about Macky Sall's decision to establish a presidential regime in the country?
In
reality, the decision of the President of the Republic is a surprise in terms of the architectural configuration of the administration over the past decades. But in reality, in terms of this political commitment and the realization of his vision, he had to face up to his responsibilities in order to effectively manage them, or better still, get involved. I believe that this is what happens. He fundamentally decided to define a presidential regime in order to move very quickly towards the realization of his projects.
And what will change with this shift to a more presidential system?
No, en réalité, sur le plan de...
Again, in reality, in terms of administrative organization, not much. In terms of achievements, this is indeed a high expectation of the people. In terms of the economy, given that we expect oil and gas, there will be a lot of progress, but also a lot of difficulties if this policy is not carried out successfully. The president will himself be directly exposed to social demands and social pressure. According to some observers, Macky Sall opts for this regime to prevent any surprise in future local and parliamentary elections and thus have his hands free to pursue his governance agenda. Is that your opinion too? This is also another problem since, in less than 9 months, there will be local elections. It would have been better than to have a free hand if he could effectively combine local elections with parliamentary elections, at the end of which he could truly lead and govern the country. In reality, there is a strong opposition today in Senegal, and this opposition does not intend to stand idly that is in relation to the policy of the President of the Republic. What we can think is that the President, since he did not keep all his promises as soon as he was first elected, intends this time perhaps to materialize on them.
And the President, Macky Sall, has suppressed the Senate. The Prime Minister's office will no longer exist. The government will report directly to him. Is it not concentrating too much power in his hands?
It is a Gordian knot. How is he going to pull the strings? How is he going to pull the strings on this? Poses a problem, given that the Prime Minister's office is blocked, that is, at the rank of Secretary General of the Presidency. He himself is now in the forefront of current events because it is he who will be the one to implement his program in the National Assembly. He will be before the trade unions. We think it will be extremely difficult, but perhaps because of his time as President of the Republic and prior to that as President of the National Assembly, and as a former Minister of Word, he has acquired a lot of functionalities. We think he can find the same solutions to this presidential regime that we actually think is quite rough and rather difficult these days. Thank you, Magatte, for your insights. Magatte is an expert in communication and development based in Dakar, Senegal.
You're watching The Morning Call right here on Africanews. To get all these and other stories from across the continent and beyond on TV and on our Africanews website, www.africanews.com. Still to come in the program, makeup in film is not only used to beautify characters, it is also used to transform actors into a desired character. We discover a Nollywood special effect makeup artist who is well versed in conventional makeup and also well read when it comes to the proper use of prosthetics. And we'll also be looking at another talent in South Africa, a pool player who wants to popularize this discipline on the continent. All this and much more coming up shortly after the break.